Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Welcome to packs 15 through 20, at least of the, well, not at least, T8 of the T800. 15 through 20 may be more biting off more than I want to chew, but we'll see how far we get. I also have a little bit something a little bit different. Did get one of the mod packs in. Let me switch cameras so you can see it. This here is replacement teeth. Remember I said how the bottom row of teeth had 3 teeth in the middle? This replaces the teeth. We'll be pulling the teeth out of the head today and gluing these in. These things are really, really tiny. Come from a place called Model Mods in the UK. They do a lot of modifications for these larger part works. If you look, actually let me take this off because the glare is terrible off the cellophane. They're not bad. Actually, there's the uppers. And there are the lowers. They're the same people that I'm waiting for the finger mod for to replace the pins in sleeves. And of course, Terminator grabbed a hold of Tiny Batman earlier. Tiny Batman's everywhere these days, and he is actually one of 3 kits that one of them I've just finished, but he's one of 3 kits that I've been working on this week. Tiny Batman came out of here. It is him plus a 1/32 figure for the 1/32 figure for the Bat Pod that I'm working on to go along with the Catwoman Bat Pod that I just finished. So let's go ahead and start working with the teeth. I'm going to replace the top ones first, and then we'll replace the bottom ones. And for that, I get to do what I've always threatened to do with my kids. Grab a pair of pliers and pull out the teeth. These actually, I knew I was probably going to be buying these, so I was really sparing on the glue. And they're coming out really easy. Matter of fact, that one just came out. And there's that one. Now these should, I'm hoping there isn't very much residue. Yeah, there's not enough residue from the glue in there to make it an issue to glue these in there. So I'm going to go ahead and toss these in the box because they are now going in the trash after this. And go ahead and glue the uppers in here. This time I'm still going to be sparing on the glue, but I'm going to use a little bit better glue, and I'm going to make sure that it is in there, locked in there forever. And they just slide in like that. And I just realized, let me switch. That's a little bit better view, a little bit closer view. It looks kind of funky right now. That's because it's out of the track. They look a little bit funky right now, but when they should, once this is on there, once the face is actually on there, they should fit just perfect. That should hold. And I don't know what you think, but I think these teeth are a lot better. I know what you mean, Spencer. I know what you mean. But I always told my kids when they had a toothache, if it's that bad, I have pliers in the garage. So let's go ahead and take the second set out. I've actually heard that sound within the last 6 months when they pulled a tooth on me. It's one of them things when you start getting older, your teeth, you have the choice of either having another root canal. Either another root canal or just get it out of there. I opted to have them just take the teeth out. That one left a pin behind. That might not be a good idea. Yeah, that one's going to require a little bit of finesse to get that pin out. But that's the only one. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, right there is the nub of a pin. I've got to get that out, otherwise that won't sit flush. It's actually not that much sticking above the surface. That should be pretty easy to get out. Not completely out, but it's smooth, or not really smooth, but it's flat now, so I should be able to maybe. What's blocking? It's not that, it's something up in the front. Actually, I don't see anything, so I'm going to go ahead and push forward with this. These teeth are a little bit, I don't know if they're going to be fragile or not. Oh yeah, that's going to fit right in there. I don't know if they're going to be fragile or not. I don't think they are, but they are, I believe, just resin. The others were resin, but they were multiple pieces. This is much finer resin. It's much thinner, or it's a little bit thinner, and each tooth is actually on there by itself. Each tooth is a separate entity, whereas the old ones, you had a block of 2 or 3 teeth together. You can see maybe on this camera, but trust me, if you had a picture of them, they are actually separate individual teeth on there. So it is a much better rendition of teeth inside the Terminator's mouth. So let me get this pushed back in here without gluing myself to the Terminator. There, that went in there really nice. So now his teeth look a lot better now than they did before. I like those a lot better. I wish I had teeth that good. So take these. I like the little box. I like the way they package everything. Unfortunately, I don't yet have the finger mod, so we're going to be doing the fingers with the pins again. But once I get it, I'll probably have enough pins, enough of the fingers done that I will do just a live stream of, well, I'll do a live stream of replacing 1 finger worth of the pins. I don't think you guys want to sit here for an hour watching me take pins out and then put screws in, because that's all it's going to be on those. So starting off with pack 17, I just looked up, saw model Mania 7 and I lost my mind. This pack 15, we've got other side of the cranium from that we did last time. More of the silicone sleeves, along with the pins, the smaller pins, screws to screw this part to this part, and the rest of the finger. Where's that? There it is. Now let's put the fingertip inside one of the bags. Hey Eric, how's it going? So, where did I put my blade? Cut this open. 3 more of the... He's just going to ask questions about LEDs. Okay, so again, 2 of the 3 screws are gonna use 2 of them. One of them is going to be a spare, and just because there's only these screws, and I'm sure I have other ones of them, 2 PM 4mm. I'm going to go ahead and put the spare away. So this will slide in there just like the other one did. Now, lugs and tabs to hold it in. It'll look like that when we're done. No leads yet. Actually, there are going to be leads in this one because there are motors in these packs. We will be installing the motors that make the eyes shift left and right and the jaw to move up and down. Those are, let's see, that would be pack 18 and 19. So once these are in, fits in there just like that. The mirror image of the one from last time. And those will actually be attached today because it's got the cranium, or I've got the cranium for this pack, or 2 packs. I'm doing the cranium tonight. I'm not talking packs anymore. Double check. It looks like there are 3. Yeah, they're getting smarter. They're putting, with how they're doing them, they're putting the pins with the hollow section in them all together so that it's easier to discern which one is actually for the knuckle attaching to the hand. And here's the funny thing, I have reached the point, I've done so many of these fingers, I'm not even paying attention to the instructions right now. Which means I'll probably miss something really important. Or not. And so three knuckles for the finger, the 1 knuckle that attaches to the wrist. And I need a little bit of glue. Where's my tape? I would actually use a 3mm. Or these really cool gloves I saw on Amazon that have LEDs in the fingertips. Contemplating getting some of them because it's a lot easier than holding a flashlight. Of course, I also have a headlight that I put on my, light that I literally put on my head for when I'm doing things and I need a flashlight. So, just like before, put some glue on here. That's put way too much on there, but that's okay. That stuff's cheap. Put the glue on here. And of course, I'm just off camera. And then put the fingertip on. Interesting, that one actually had a specific direction to go. Never noticed that before. I thought they were all completely round, but I don't know if you can see it, but the fingertip is actually oval. Okay, not that one, that's the long one. Let me go ahead and get these out because I'm going to have to glue them in. I will probably be cursing myself when I have to take these out because I'm gluing them in. No. When I look at my models that are built without lights, I go, that's a nice model. I have never tried to take something apart and I've had lights go out and I'm like, it's really sad that that doesn't work anymore. Although I do have to say, I've looked at some models recently that I built a while back, and I was like, that's cool. That's really nice, the model I built. Interesting. There's an extra knuckle. Sorry, I don't mean to be quiet, guys, but I'm looking at this. Oh, no, there's not an extra knuckle. I'm sorry. I was looking at this one thinking it looked just like this one, which this one has the flat, you know, it's kind of perpendicular to itself, where this one's the two lugs are parallel. And I was like, that doesn't look right. Spencer, did you do it? Damn it. Whoops. There goes my PG rating. So a little bit of glue in there. Hopefully enough to hold it and not enough to where I'm going to hate myself trying to take it out. Now, while that's drying, go ahead and push these through here. Looks like it's going to hold. Put that one on there. I'm getting adventurous. I'm doing both sides at once. Yes, indeed. Scooby-Doo references. Of course, we do have, and I think she actually joined the new site. Not sure. But we do have Velma, if she joined. Because if you follow Dana on Facebook, she does a lot of Velma pics. You know, I need to move that glue. No, the glue's good. I just need to make sure I don't go further over than that. I think I may have screwed up on that one. That one may actually end up gluing to the lug. But thankfully the fingers are metal, so when it comes time to break them loose, it should be okay. Last one. That's right. Pin goes through the plastic part first of the wrist. Not quite going all the way in. Better. I'm about to put that one on backwards. That would suck. Double check. It did come up. A little bit of glue in there. Put the pin in. And that is the first Terminator handle. Fully done. Not bad. I like it, and it is hefty. It's probably, I would say, about between 4 and 6 ounces. I know that the Terminator actually starts getting pretty weighty pretty quick. So that is the end of stage 15. And so now open up stage 16. Here we have parts of the arm, some plastic washers, 2 metal spring washers, screws, a ratchet part, and this is the first time I've come across screws that were not in a package. Interesting. That's really interesting, because I've got 5 screws here, and I'm supposed to have 5 screws total. So these screws here somehow fell in at the factory. Are you talking a LED one that is lit, Eric, or what are you talking about? Oh, you said figure. I thought you said finger. No, just yeah. I thought you said finger. I misunderstood. I need to learn to read. Just see. Yeah, those are the same screws. So I ended up with 2 spares here, and those are 6mm. Oh, actually, you know what? The mistake was in the packaging, because there's supposed to be 4 of these and 1 spare, so they put 2 spares in the pack just in case you get lost them. And then the 12mm, I don't know if I've got one of those already. PM3 by, yep. So that takes care of the spares. So first thing is to take this and this part from back in issue 7. This is, remember, this is this is pack 16. This is from issue 7. Didn't have anything, it was just there. This lug will go in here, and that is part of how it articulates and manages to stay in place. I'm just going to put some glue in each one of these holes, because I understand why they have you do this, but I also understand that once you put this in, there's no way it's going to fall out after it's screwed together. So that'll slide down on there. Fit down in there and will not ever come back out of there. And then it marries up with this piece that came in this issue. And see, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you can hear the ratcheting, but it's ratcheting a little bit. Sure, the markings are aligned with the part. That way. I had it completely backwards. And then we take this part from last time with the tendons. And that goes in with the longer part down on the bottom. There's the groove. Okay, that fits in there like that. And now I need a third hand. Speaking of third hands, Eric, did you get a helping hand when you ordered your stuff today? It's not absolutely necessary, but it is if you want to keep your fingers. Cool. Very important. It's one of them things that I don't use it very often anymore, that I forgot about it. Matter of fact, I have two different types. I have the standard one with the little magnifying glass and the little arm and the two clips. And then I've got this Mondo one that I use more often that's got 6 arms on it. That way I can set up, when I do it, I set up a whole bunch of LEDs at once. And that's not going to fit down in there. Because this screw has got to go all the way. Let's see if you can see the hole down in there, right next to the, there's a hole in the center here. Let's see. There, if you see it right next to this one, between these two, that hole is where this screw comes in. If I can get it there. That's cool. That magnifying lens will come in handy unless you already have the glasses that you put on your head. I have the white ones that have popped up recently that have the LED in them. There are times that those things are just the most important thing in my whole arsenal because I'm getting old and my eyes are going bad. Especially when I'm working on like the Bat Pod and the Ecto 1, which I'm putting small black parts onto small black parts. Come on, fit back in there. Yes, absolutely. That's what I use as well. Is the brass it's kind of like a old style brass scrubber for pots and pans. And I don't know, Spencer, is it copper or is it brass? I thought it was copper. Because what it is, the copper is the solder is attracted to the copper, and so it sticks on there and comes right off the tip. And eventually something else that I've picked up, because I was going through tips pretty quick, is you can get some retinning paste. Basically, you heat up your soldering iron and dip it in there, and it will retin it. The shininess will come back, basically. So, that's got the arm together. Ah, got it. So, the last thing we have in this pack is these little cylinders. And I'm going to try not to do what I've done before. And as before, I guarantee you can't see it because it's so small. There's a slightly larger indentation on one side that goes against the arm piece, and the screw is just there to hold it on there. Hey, Kenny. Have a safe drive, man. It's not that and Eric, we're not determined to keep you broke. We're determined to, see, what we're telling you is all the stuff that we've picked up over the years because we've done it for so long. By the way, Kenny, Eric says hi. A lot of the stuff I've got, I didn't have when I first started lighting stuff. Not bad, Spence. Does it have the little container that it sits in, or is it just the brass sponge? I also have a thing that I stole from my wife, which is a little white block of some sort of resin that I can run the tip through, and it cleans it that way too. And third one. See, here's the funny thing, Eric. 7 years ago, so I was 48, I got back into the hobby. I did models really badly as a kid. Everything I do now the skill I have now isn't because I've gained skill. It's more because I've gained patience. When I was doing the Titanic, which was my first model in 25 years, it was funny because my wife would watch me as I would be painting the hull of the ship. I'd paint a little bit of red, and I'd go over the line. And so I'd paint it, I'd go back and I'd paint it the other way. And I sat there until I got to where I was happy with it. Not that it was perfect, I was just happy with it. So these cylinders are all now done, all the rubber gaskets on here, and they just push down into the arm like that on all three of them. And that is the I believe this is the forearm. The elbow will be here. The wrist will go here. Matter of fact, the little ball sockets I'm about to, they're in this issue. The little ball sockets will go inside of these right here, and then there's a larger one here. Once I get to that part, I'm going to take a look and see, because from what I've seen, the larger ball socket I think it comes in 2 pieces, so I might be spending a little bit more money on this thing to replace that ball socket with a metal one instead. So that is stage 16. Stage 17 has the most substantial, I think, no, not quite, but close to the most substantial piece of metal so far. It has the cranium of the Terminator. And that is a pretty hefty piece of metal. Matter of fact, no, the hand is just a hair heavier than this. But this is where these pieces here, these two attach, and these are the balls that the sockets for the wrist joint goes on to. And they're actually plastic, but I don't think there have been a problem with these because I haven't seen any replacement parts. That's the thing that you'll find with these part works like this. A lot of them, when you see replacement parts, they're either details that the company didn't put in, or more likely they're errors that the company did put in. It has a port where you yank the... I'm lost. Not sure what you're saying there, Spencer. With even has the port where you yank the chip out engraved. So, ooh, that was almost bad. I have tile in here, but still these little bitty screws disappearing onto the floor. I'd never see them again. So, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 and 4. You probably cannot see it. These are countersunk. These ones here. These are the PM 4mm. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I'm guessing right here, because I don't remember that in the movie. Actually, I do, now that you mention it. It's just been a long time. KB times 6. So first thing you do, flip it around. I see. I don't think I saw the extended cut. So that, oh, I love how well that went in there. I'm not sure if you guys heard when that went in there. I mean, it literally holds, it would hold itself into place almost. I loved how well that went in there. But, of course, it's not going to. So 2 of these small screws go into the screw holes here with these lugs that stick out here to hold it in. Just goes in there like that. And let me get the other one in there before I tighten it down, just to make sure I don't have to fight with it. Tighten it up. Do the exact same thing on the other side, and I think I've told you guys before, but if not, all 3 of the parts, the plastics on the side, the parts on the side of the skull are plastic, but the main parts of the cranium, the part of the frame around that, along with the cranium itself, top of the cranium, are all metal. Not going to stay by myself. Sorry, that was out of camera view because I had the way that I had the part held. There, 2 screws on that side. So 4 screws on either side, or 4 screws total. And that is the cranium put together. And I want to say, yeah, matter of fact, use the grooves in the side of the skull. Here, let me do this the right way. Oh, it's not. I'm not going to be able to because nothing to really hold it yet. But the groove, there's grooves in the sides of the cranium. There, and why is that one not sliding in there where it's supposed to? Not quite sure what's blocking it. Maybe something that I have to take care of later. Might be something I don't worry about at all. Something is, she's supposed to slide on like that. I mean, you can see where it's just slid completely in right here. But there's a gap here. Not a huge one, but there's a gap there, which means I'm going to have to either take something apart, either something's not lined up right, which is hard to believe, or maybe the face itself is tweaked just a little bit. So it looks like it should just slide in there. Maybe, just let me see if I can slide this in here. Nah, it's not gonna go in there easy. But that should be on by the end of this. Now, it shouldn't have mattered that how tight they were. They're, you know, I think what it is that this one side might be bent in just a hair. Once the rest of this head is in there, I should be able to figure out what it was. But still, even if I can't get it in there correctly all the way, it doesn't look, maybe it's up here. Oh, it doesn't look bad. Oops. No. Slight raised here. No, that's actually, that side's in. That's really weird. It's flush in the front here, but here's where the gap is. And it's raised here. Definitely some warpage of the metal, I think. But I'll take care of that later. So where was I? Okay, there. Back to these little balls for the sockets. Let's see. Yeah, it should be able to get to it. Okay, so here, and here is where these sockets, where these balls will go. They'll just go on here like that. Hold it in with my finger, if I can keep hold of it. And there's a recess for basically the pin on the bottom here. Did not notice that. That's kind of cool. Let me get this one and I'll show you on the next one. There are flat points on the lug for these balls, so that you can actually get it completely tightened in. Let's see. Focus. And learn where your camera's at. No, that's not showing up. Hang on, maybe. No, it doesn't show a picture of it in the book either. And it's such a shiny part that I don't think. There. You should be able to see how the reflection is there. That's one of the two flat spots, and if I roll it all the way over the other side, there's the reflection on the other side. Yes, indeed, I did say balls, Kenny. And I'll say it again. Already lost my PG rating earlier. get back on there. I think that one's being cross-threaded, so let me back it back out and then push it all the way through and lose it. Okay, now let me put it back in. Okay, there. It's going in. And of course, it has popped back up again. Sorry guys, didn't mean to get out of frame. On a interesting note today at work, I got an email, and I think you guys know I work for the Air Force. So apparently the DoD has determined that it will be quite a long time before there's enough vaccine for everybody to get vaccinated, which means I will be teleworking until June. Let me try this. This one's just not cooperating. This is irritating. It is almost in there, but it just won't go that last little bit because it keeps popping out of the socket. Screw over there so I don't lose it. Hopefully this will not damage anything. Finally, got it. It didn't want to play nice. Bad part about the them doing the telework until June, because of there not being enough vaccine they predict until then, is it means they'll probably tell me I have to take it. I don't know that I want to. I used to work in a medical group as a budget analyst, and they told me I had to get a flu shot every year. I haven't had one since, and I haven't had the flu or gotten a really terrible, well, I did this year finally. And it's because, dopey me, I forgot to turn on my heated blanket, and we keep the house relatively cool, so I caught a pretty severe cold. But that's the first one in several years. Normal is for weird people. So, there are the sockets for the wrist, and that is everything in this stage. My poor Terminator's fingers are all splayed over to the left. Okay, moving right along, we are going to put in the eye motor. And there are some really tiny motors in this thing. And that requires me to bring back this part from stage 1 or 2. I don't remember. Stage 1. This was way back in the pack, way back when I first put the eyes together. Got that. This is the motor that moves the eyes. All it does is move them left and right. The moving parts on the head, it will be the eyes. Right now they can shift by themselves. These parts will tie them together to where they'll shift at the same time, and then the jaw will move up and down. Screws out. .7, those are new. Wow. My file is magnetic. Double check. Yeah, I don't have any of these 1.7s already. And PB 4mm. Okay, so going back on here, way back when there were these lugs here, and in the original release, it said to put these, or these, not lugs, these pins were on the bottom. They put out a update so that you put the pins on the top, because this piece here will then slide down with the part sticking out here towards the left eye or right hand side as I'm looking at it right now, and it just sits down there on there like that. With that on there, the eyes now move in unison. This, okay, with this has two little lugs on the bottom here. Flat part goes towards the front of the skull, and those lugs will go down on the bottom. And once that's in there, let's see if I can get it on here. It doesn't, nothing holds it in yet. It seems like it sticks out a little bit. Just make sure. Yeah, those lugs are supposed to be pointing out. Yeah, that's as far back as it goes. Okay, I'm mumbling to myself, and you guys get a listen. So that fits down there on there like that. Hopefully putting in these screws will tighten it up. And those are the 17 by 4 mil, so these black ones. this one in here first. Mumble, 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 mumble. Hey, we had a wing commander, his call sign was Mumbles. So that those two screws go into these two holes here. I went out one time to catch a red ball, which is what it's called when a aircraft, the pilot has an issue and wants it fixed before he takes off. Otherwise, he's not going to take the plane. And I went out there and talked to the colonel, and all I heard on the headset when I talked to him was mumble, mumble, mumble. Flight controls, mumble, mumble, mumble. Not good. Mumble, mumble, mumble. And I said, "Sir, can you restart the airplane?" And he said, "Mumble, mumble, mumble." Crew chief, mumble, mumble, mumble. Gave him back to the crew chief. He shut it down. He restarted. Everything was good to go. But it was just funny that a full bird colonel wing commander mumbled like that. You could not understand what he said ever. So that's now in there, solid, and it holds this in, keeps it from coming out. And I'm showing people above the camera. So this part keeps the this cross arm from coming out, and now the eyes forever now will move together. Now, take blue motor. That's where blue motor goes. Okay. I almost read the instructions, and then I just looked at the pictures and looked at the part. So there's a little pin here on this motor, and it is, like I said, it is a tiny motor. The actual motor is over here, this little bitty piece here. There's a whole bunch of gears. I'm thinking probably to step it down, and there's a pin here that goes into this lug that is on the that I just installed. There, you can see it right there. That will drop in there like that. These two pins here will hold the motor in place, and that is what is going to make the eyes move. And yes, guys, just in case you're wondering, I do mumble to myself when I'm building models by myself. It's just one of them things. I think we all do it. Sit there and go, what the hell were they thinking when they did this? I know we've all had that moment where we look at a part and we're like, why would you do it that way? I did yesterday when I got done with the larger of the bat pods, and there was this oil tank is what they called it on the first one, and it was just this little not needed part, just a little detail part, black on black, smaller than this bit. And I had to fit it in there, and it didn't fit. I had to sand it down. I had to use a round file to get it to fit in there. And so today I'm working on the 1/32 one, and I see that exact same part, just 3/4 the size, and I'm like, why? Why is that a separate part? But it went in there like it was meant to. So motor is now in place. Take the lower jaw assembly. Okay. We are building a head. Of course. And if you threaten it enough, it will actually be nice and fit. Could they make this any more difficult? Oh, actually, there, once I close the jaw. It's not too bad. So down inside there, neck keeps getting in the way. Down inside there, those three pieces, those three holes correspond with these three screw holes. And so put the screws in there, and the Terminator has most of a head. It would be deafening. It's kind of like a car I had when I was in Germany. I had a Datsun B210. This is in 88, 86, 88. It was a 78 Datsun B210. It was beat to crap. Terrible shape. And so anytime it did not work, whenever something would go wrong with it, I felt no shame in kicking my car. I kicked it many times. And I'm not talking kicking the tires. I kicked quarter panels. Only problem is, every time I kicked a quarter panel, about a pound of rust fell off. And what's funny is, looking back, that car that I kicked and sometimes hated so much was one of the best cars I ever owned, one of the funnest to drive. I put 30,000 miles on that car, and probably 20 to 25,000 of them were at 80 to 90 miles an hour or higher. That's the only car that I have ever actually pegged the speedometer. And the speedometer stopped at 90, I think it was. I actually made it to halfway through the odometer before I said, okay, that's fast enough. This thing is going to explode. So, Terminator now has a face. Or not a face yet, he has a head. And you can see while I'm moving the jaw, the articulation from the neck. And he can turn left and right. Let's see, just because I can. Not sure where those fit in. That wire back there. Still missing pieces to actually connect it. So I can slip that on. And now, watch, this cranium's going to fall off when I do this. That is impressive, I think. It's not bad at all. Pizza? Did you bring enough for everybody? Okay. Stage 19. It's a long walk, Kenny. I don't think I'll make it before it's all gone. But that's okay. I had, what was it, 3-day-old pizza today. You know, if you heat that up in a convection oven, it comes out really, really good. Many, many motor parts. That's right. You got snow, Spencer? Because I don't think Kenny does. I think Eric's got no snow but bitter cold. I've got no snow yet. We had not even a dusting. We had some snowflakes come down a couple of days ago. No snow and over 50? All right, well, no snow here, and it's 29 degrees. It was like 18 this morning. All right, so gears, and some screws. Of course, you've got the ocean there helping you out, Kenny. That's why I was telling Eric a couple of days ago, when I lived in Anchorage, on the evening news, they would report our weather, and then they would report Bismarck's weather, because Bismarck was always colder. Just to make us feel better. PB 6mm. I don't think, yeah, I don't have those yet. Sorry guys, I compulsively put my screws away. That was your pick? Okay. 4+ inches. And weren't you, Spence, weren't you supposed to get another like 8 or 9 inches today? I know you were, I know they were hating you today for the weather. All right, so this gear will go down inside this housing. There's a pin right there to line it up. Let's see if I can get it to where. So pinlet right there goes into a hole right here. 2 screw holes. And it has to fit perfectly down inside of a hole. You can see the you can almost see there, right there. You can all see the point where it sticks out. There's a divot on the other side. 5 to 9. Wow. I looked on our local TV station weather. We are supposed to get a total, I mean, the St. Louis area is supposed to get, usually averages about 14 inches. Last year, apparently we only got about 12. And for this entire year, we are supposed to get 6 to 9. So you're going to get more snow, Spence, tomorrow than I'm going to get all winter. And I moved to Illinois for snow. It hasn't snowed hardly since we got here. Okay. Tighten that down. That one down. Locking that gear in place, and that gear will turn this pin here, which I believe that pin plugs into the jaw. Mountaintops will do that to you. That's why it snows so much in Alaska, because there's mountains everywhere. I've seen mountains here in, not here in Illinois, but what they call mountains in Wisconsin. Makes me laugh. It's like just a little bump. So this motor, and this motor is actually pretty heavy. I guess it's because it's got to move that jaw. This black part goes over this, I guess you'd call it a black housing. And I think, yeah, I have to be. Always helps if you put it on right. I was putting the nice smooth edge on the, away from it. The nice smooth edge goes against it, and these raised pieces go against on the other side. Obviously, that's where this is going to bolt up. Put the sockets on, put it on there like that, and then two of these little screws will go in. I'm glad I re-looked at that. Two of these screws with a wider flange on them that's actually going to catch something and not just go right through the metal go on here. Yeah, if I put the other one on there, see how that flange is there? That flange will hold it here. If I had put the other screw in, it would have just shot right through that hole. So this one, sure they're both tight. And not sure if you guys realize that that's a plastic part there. All the parts right now on these are all plastic parts, which is kind of funny because it's going to be moving a metal jaw. This now slides on here like that. Okay. 3 screw holes here, 3 lugs there for the screws to go through and hold it. Now to just get it to line up with the gear in there. And come on, line up. There's one that started. I'm going to get them all 3 started before I tighten them down. I've dealt enough with times that you don't do something like that and then something shifts and good God, you can never get it in there. So there's the jaw motor complete, and that's everything in this stage. Guessing I'm going to have to take, I have to take everything I did to put his head together. I have to undo, because now we're going to put the motor in here, and the lug is going to go in here to move the head or move the jaw. Not very much, but it's going to move. So let me get the pack. And this is pack 20. Okay. Which consists of 2 braces, and these braces actually, I want to say they go in like this, across the top of the head like this, to actually hold the cranium. A couple more black plastic parts and more screws. Actually, just looking at these, with the curve on these parts, they're going to be the housing that holds the motor together, or holds the motor in place. And a bunch of little screws. One spare again of each. These are 6mm PB, 6mm. The actual full thing that it says is it would be PB 2 by 6mm, which means it's 6mm long. The head is 2mm. Same with this. This is 8 PM 2 by 4s. I don't think I have. I do have 4mm PM screws. I like the fact that they give you a spare for each screw, and they give you all the screws you need in each pack. When I did the Millennium Falcon, they didn't do that. What they would do on the Millennium Falcon is they gave you, so you had lots of parts, they would give you screws and the braces and things that you didn't use. You were just told to hold on to them until you needed them. I like this a whole lot better. If I didn't feel like collecting these the way I am, I wouldn't have to. So 5-1. I may have to go back and look in another book. because it says oh, okay. Instead of calling this whole assembly stage 19 or something, 5-1 is the back of the skull here that I already worked on. So I'm sitting here looking for part from 5-1, and it's not a part from 5-1. It's the skull in the current configuration. So 20-1, which is this one, goes in here like that. These three screw holes fit into the three lugs on here. That is a perfect angle. I didn't think I could get that. But so you can see the three lugs that fit down over the screw holes or screw posts and go on there just like that. And then 2mm or 4mm screws, but only 3 of them. The fun part is going to be putting a screw on the end of the screwdriver while not losing control of the part that's sitting inside the skull, because it will just shift off without much encouragement. Got it. So now I can set him down. Grab this one. Put it in there. Yeah, that one caught. Put one more in there. Now I'm going to tighten all 3 of these down. And that's the bracket installed. Oops. Come back here, grab the motor, and it goes in this way with the pin, or with the plug going to the front. This pin here, you can barely see it there. I love black on black. This pin there will go into this part right here, so that the part that moves the head or moves the jaw. As I set the motor into the bracket, into the holder, maybe. That is really a bad position for the. Sorry, I'm just looking at the way that the wire harness runs, and that is really bad. I just almost tweaked it. Give me a second, fellas. I gotta get this in here without breaking any wires. Okay. Once I got it out, got it in there the right way, it actually fits in pretty nicely, but I still do not like the way that this harness comes out of here. I almost cut that yellow wire there. And yeah, it says to make sure that the pin, this pin here, it's right at the top of my thumb. I don't think, especially with that wire there, I don't think you can differentiate enough with the lighting I've got. But there's a pin right there, and it's inside there so that it, right now, the jaw is held in place. And then this will go over top. Yeah, it doesn't matter which way. That's held in place again by, oh no, that's, I was going to say 4mm, but That's held but in place by the 6mm screws instead. That's the only problem with the magnetic screw is if you put the screw in, or magnetic screwdriver, if you put the screw in first, it'll jump out. Okay, that one started. Get the other one started too. And that motor is trying to pop loose. No! That's still in there good. Sorry, didn't mean to be off camera. And that locks that motor in. The jaws are now firmly in place. By the way, Kenny, you weren't here. He had to go see the dentist. Much better teeth than he had before. Actual gaps between them and the lower teeth. Instead of having one right in the middle, he now has pairs of teeth down on the bottom. Well worth the little bit of change I had to part with for that. Just looking, they did. The teeth came out a little bit. The uppers came down a little bit, which is not a good thing. So let me re-glue that, and hopefully this won't happen again. It'll stay in place. It should, because I'm almost done with tonight's, and I'll make sure the teeth are in where they're supposed to be, and then we'll leave them alone to really solidify. Yeah, what I saw, guys, was when I was looking at it from the front, there was actually a gap underneath the teeth here. I could see right past them, and I'm like, no, that's not good. I don't think it would have mattered, but I'd hate to lose the teeth. So let me put this pin back on. Actually, let me make sure. Yeah, they marry up good. And the actual instructions for the teeth tell you if you're beyond, if you're quite a ways further, if your cranium is put completely on, they give you instructions on how to just take part of it down and to pull this, just so you can pull the pin off of this arm so that you can move the jaw. Okay. Oh, okay. These, and it's funny because when I look at the book, it's funny because they're picking up these pieces with tweezers, and I'm like, why? I can hold it with my hand. And so there's a screw hole here. There's another one here that I'm pretty sure will be used later on. One here and one here. We're concerned with this one, the one on the bottom right now, because what it's going to line up with, the one on the bottom back is going to line up here. The other one is going to line up with this plastic lug here. I want to see. Yeah, it goes in front. Ah, that's not a screw hole. That's a pin hole. There's a pin up here on top of the head. There. You can see those 2 pins? Those pins go into these holes here to hold it in the correct position once you get the screw in. Or so you can get the screw in, really. Like that. And then put a screw. Does the screw come in from the back or the front? It's got to come in from the front. But it looks like it's threaded. From behind, okay. I have to read every now and then. It's not fair. This needs the long skinny screwdriver, which has a bad end on it a little bit. Okay. And what it's showing in the picture, which is what I'm going off of as the pictures, is the flat end of the screw sticking out right there. Not really sticking out, but just almost flush. So the other one will go into the back of the skull here. Like that, right there. And I'm guessing that these braces, because I don't think they're, from what I've seen, you shouldn't need bracing this heavy on this skull. I think there's for support for the back for something. Not sure where that's going to end up, but right now I'm going to put it there. I think it's, you got these heavy braces here just because you got to get these 2 lugs for screws right here. So on there, that's on there, and of course it's going to fall over. Screws, I'm going to have to redo it because after I get the screws on here, maybe. Actually, it looks like I can get it in there. Come on. That's on the pin. That one's going in an angle that's not a good thing. And that's it, done. And that is the end of stage 20, which is where I wanted to get. Let's see if I can fit the skull back together. Make sure, push these wires down to where they're not going to be in the way. This harness could be a pain. Why do I have a feeling it's going to tell me to take the whole skull back together so I can run wires out of it? Okay, so at this point, they had to be there before. I just put it on wrong before. There's actually screw holes right here and right here to where, so that the skull could actually be mated right now. Nothing in the front. And then this part here will always be just a slide-on part. It does not ever get actually attached other than that. And I'm going to get a hammer and knock it flat on this side. Hang on. I'm really curious. It's got to be that it's warped a little bit. I just need to unwarp it to fix that gap over here. I mean, it's almost in there. So, gentlemen, we have a Terminator head. Let me see. I'm going too far. I have a Terminator head. We have a Terminator arm or hand and wrist. The forearm. I believe this is the upper arm and shoulder. And that is actually everything I have, with the exception of the battery test box. So through stage 20, it actually is putting quite a bit of it together. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. So, I'm glad you stopped by. I am enjoying this build. The good news is I haven't gotten it yet. My plan is, though, that when they come in, I've got another month of the Ecto 1 coming. I'm going to probably do 2 months at once. Don't know if it's going to be a live stream or if it's just going to be I'm going to post a video. Haven't touched it since I started live streaming. Like I said, I've got a second month on the way. The X-Wing I should be getting build for that, and so the parts should be coming for that very soon. So, more coming. And I am going to start putting together videos of prior builds and things I'm working on right now. I'm going to try and make sure I post some videos, Eric, so that you can look at some of the way I do soldering. We all end up with our own method of soldering. I don't think there's any right or wrong. As long as you get power to the LEDs and back, everything will be great. So I want to call it a night. That's an hour and a half, which is, for some reason, that is what I end up at every time. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Tell your friends, have them come by. Tell them to come and take a look, because this is a really, out of the part works I've done so far, this and the Ecto 1 are my two favorites. X-Wing's cool. The DeLorean was cool until the issues that I had with it. The Millennium Falcon was great. The R2-D2 was great. Don't have any videos on any of them. Wish I did. So I'm going to say good night and have a great evening, and I will talk to you later.